He tossed me a mop. The handle clattered against my shoes, and laughter rippled through the terrace. "She's used to scrubbing floors," he said, voice thick with champagne. "Let her clean the pool area." I stood there, mop in hand, 1,000 eyes drilling into me. The taste of iron sat heavy on my tongue, but I didn't move. I only smiled, small, controlled. They thought I broke in that moment. They thought I shrank. But I was already gone. Before the fall, when I first met Alan, he was magnetic. A man who built empires out of dust. He saw potential in me, at least that's what I believed. "You're sharp," he told me, sliding an envelope of cash across a table years ago. "You'll rise if you stick close." I did. I poured years into his vision, worked nights that bled into mornings, fixed his mistakes while he collected praise. I knew every ledger, every hidden transfer, every offshore account. He trusted me with the spine of his empire. And he paid me with scraps and humiliation. The unraveling. The first sign came quiet. A contract I negotiated disappeared from records. Then a client called me the secretary. Then a retreat invitation where my name was buried under +1. I watched him change. The man who once praised me now used me as a punchline. His arrogance grew in direct proportion to my silence. He mistook silence for weakness. But silence is planning. When he tossed me that mop, I knew the guest list had changed. The investors he worshipped, their flight had been delayed. In their place arrived new names: regulators, a senator, 2 journalists circling for blood. Alan hadn't checked. I had. That night I packed light, a single duffel. I walked past the guards as though I belonged to the dark, and I left. They thought I quit. In a way, I did. The plan? 3 years of buried files sat encrypted in my possession. Records of fraud, bribes, shell companies named after his childhood pets, insurance policies he thought untraceable, all signed with his hand. I didn't leak them at once. No, too easy, too fast. I released them like drops of poison in clear water, anonymous tips. A whisper to the journalists he laughed at. A portfolio slid across the senator's desk. Every document was a nail. Every signature a hammer strike. The return. The night after his mockery, the sky split with rotor blades. A helicopter descended onto the resort's landing pad, blades scattering champagne flutes and startled laughter. I stepped out in black, documents locked in a case cuffed to my wrist. Silence fell. The same faces that laughed at me the night before now froze mid-breath. Alan's glass slipped from his hand. The sound of it shattering was beautiful. Confrontation. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. "Alan," I said, meeting his eyes, "you've built something impressive. Shame it doesn't belong to you anymore." He laughed, thin, nervous. "Sit down. Stop playing games." I set the case on the table between us. The senator leaned forward first. The journalists next. One click and the case opened. Contracts, transfers, accounts, all neatly tabbed. Alan's skin drained of color. The room inhaled as one. Watching him break, he stammered, reached for bravado, then silence strangled him. Every laugh from the night before echoed in the air, now turned against him. He tried to stand, but security blocked him. He tried to speak, but the senator spoke louder. "We'll take it from here." And just like that, the man who once reduced me to a mop and a punchline was reduced to nothing at all. The payoff. I didn't stay to watch the arrest. I didn't need to. I walked out as the helicopter blades spun again, my reflection sharp against the glass. In that moment, I wasn't humiliated, I wasn't broken, I was inevitable. Reflection. People ask if revenge feels good. They imagine fireworks, catharsis, a roar of victory. They're wrong. It feels quiet. It feels like balance restored, like a room finally exhaling after being held too long. Alan thought power was money, control, humiliation. He was wrong. Power is patience. Power is silence that waits until it doesn't. And when I left that retreat in the helicopter, I left more than a job, more than a betrayal. I left him in ruins, with nothing but the sound of laughter, his own weapon, turned against him. That's the thing about humiliation. It only stings until the tables turn. And when they do, the silence is deafening.